Well, I'd like to welcome you to Teaching in Leadership's 839, Techniques for Teaching the Secondary School. This is a class that I hope will, as we end it, will increase your instructional and management toolbox for working with kids in a middle school or a secondary school. This little intro, I'm going to try to answer at least 5 questions that I've always wanted answered when I began a graduate course. Since we're in a online management system, first thing we're kind of talk about is how you navigate the Canvas system. If you haven't taken a course before, find out who's in this course with you, what I'm like as a person or a teacher, and then most importantly, what are you going to be doing in this class? How busy am I going to be, and how do I get an A? So let me answer those 5 questions for you in this short video. First of all, how do you manage the Canvas course? Well, if you notice when you when you get on the course, you're going to find that on the left-hand column there are 7 different keys, and these keys will allow you to navigate to the different pages. The first one we'd like for you to look at is the home page, and this welcomes you to the course. It contains all of the kind of an overview of what the course will do. It will introduce your text and how you get it, and then talk a little bit about me. So it's kind of an important open page, or first page, so that you get an overview of what the course is like. In this course, we're going to keep you updated by a number of announcements, and those will be coming to you almost every week, or maybe every 2 weeks, and you'll find they're quite extensive, so I don't know if you have to always read it all, but I'm going to have announcements about the previous chapter, how you did as a group, what some of the key points that we emphasized. We'll talk about the future chapter. We're going to look at what its key elements are. I'll always have sprinkled in there some humorous cartoons, and I'll always end with a video that I found to be humorous about teaching. So those announcements will be coming to you by email, and will be also found on your home page when you enter the course. The second page that you're going to find is the syllabus. Excuse me. And on the syllabus, you'll find our Trinity the dog, who will kind of tell you a little bit about it. But also you can scroll down through it, or you can download it, and even below the syllabus you will find your list of assignments, the due dates, and as you complete them, your grade and the narrative evaluation. Kind of an important page you'll come back to every so often. The syllabus you can download. It lists all the key parts of the course, where you can get help if you need it. It lists the assignments, and since almost all of us now are teaching to the objective, which this course does, it lists all the objectives and how we're going to achieve those. So you might look that over. It also lists my contact information, how you can get a hold of me, and usually it's by cell phone. Be the best way to get a hold of me. If you're new to Canvas, also you're going to find on that very first page is how you can navigate. It's a little tutorial that will show you everything you need to know to navigate any Canvas course. The fourth thing you're going to see listed on the left-hand column is the modules. This is where you're going to go almost all the time. It's set up into 16 weekly modules. It will contain in each module all the chapter material and assignments, except for the text. But everything that you're going to need will be located in each of the modules. So your follow-up by week, and that my announcements will keep you on target as to what exactly to look at and what exactly to do. As you notice, we do it by organized usually by the chapter of the text that you'll be looking at, but all 16 weeks are covered. In each of the modules, as you click on it, it'll look a little bit like this, and at the very top there'll be a page of things to do. Once you read that first, we'll show you that in a minute, but read that first. That tells you how to navigate and what to do in this module. You have also the text PowerPoints. After you've read the chapter, you might want to just look it over, especially if you like to see the big picture. It kind of emphasizes the key points. It's not narrated, but it kind of gives you an overview of what's important in each of those chapters. Then third, you'll see a list of interesting articles that I post. You don't have to read all these, but they're kind of interesting and will help you develop as a professional. And the same thing occurs with the videos. They're always on topic of, or expands the topics that we talk about in that chapter. I give you the time of it. Most of them are under 10 minutes. They don't take you that long to watch, but it's worth your time if you want to further explore the topics in the text. And then at the bottom, you'll always find next a quiz. We'll talk about it in a minute, but it's located there. And then underneath that are the 2 assignments. In every chapter, you have 2 assignments dealing with activity to apply the material, and then the discussion board to share your thoughts on 1 of 4 different items. For example, in the things to do page, at the very top, you always see the objectives of that module, a list of things to read. And sometimes I'll tell you what to emphasize, and once or twice I require you to watch a video, and then it will list the chapter activity for you, what we're going to be asking you to do, and then the 4 items on the discussion board to be looking at. So it gives you the big picture of what's in that module. Also, you're going to find in each of the assignment areas our little pet. He's my favorite dog, and he's going to give you useful tips. You can watch him if you want to, or just disregard him, but sometimes he gives you some useful tips as to what exactly to emphasize and do. When you look at the 3 assignments in each of the modules, the first one is the quiz. In the quiz, they're all the same. There's going to be multiple choice and true and false. They're not really designed, the questions are to trick you, but to check for understanding, make sure that you understood the key points in that chapter. As soon as you take it, you get your answers. You can't really quit the quiz. Once you do, it's graded for you, and you don't get a chance to do it again. But you have 45 minutes to take the quiz, and normally people get it done within 20 minutes, and if they've read the chapter and know the material. The second thing that we're asking you to do are the activities, and here sometimes you get a choice, but here you're going to apply the material in some way or another. For example, in chapter 3, we're going to ask you to pick a child. It could even be your own child if you want, but to pick a student and to analyze him on 40 different developmental aspects of an adolescent. So it kind of gives you an aspect of what impacts a child's healthy development, and so interesting activity. You don't have to share that with anybody. You just turn it in to me, and of course you won't be using the child's name. The second thing you see, or third thing you see in each of the modules, is the discussion boards, and these I enjoy the most because you'll be given 4 different questions to choose from. You only do 1. The first 2 are usually reacting to some of the key elements of the chapter, but then the third one is always research oriented. It's usually applying to you, where you go out and find something or use something, develop something for your classroom. And then there's always one on what would you do if, which we're asked for a practical opinion of what you'd do actually if you were in the classroom. So once you complete yours, and you have to complete it and submit it before you can see anybody else's responses, and then once you submit it, I want you to respond to a minimum of 5 other people. And I think you're going to find this stimulating, because if all 4 questions or areas are answered, it's going to be quite a diversity of different things that students are posting. So quite fun. This is one of my favorite things in the course. Hope it is for you. Once you turn it in, the Canvas tells what time and if you're early or late or whatever. It'll also show you the rubric, how it will be graded. And then when I get it graded, I'll always provide a narrative as well as the rubric evaluation, so you know how you did. Our rubrics sometimes are quite extensive on the assignments, or and then sometimes they're not, but you might want to check the rubric to see what you need to have in that assignment. If you want to always keep track of your grades, again, they're found in 2 places, but the grades are kept track of all the way through the course. And then always read my narrative comments, because I do read everything you turn in. Your text will be a rather new text. It came out really this last year, and it's teaching in the middle and secondary schools. We're not going to read every chapter. We'll only be looking at 7 chapters. But you can buy this book. The reason we've chose this, it's quite cheap if you get it in the electronic format. So it's $22.99 right now, and you buy it through the Pearson store, and you'll find the instructions how to do that on the home page. But if you like to have a print, a hard copy for you, you can purchase 2 ways, a loose leaf copy of it, which I found really good, and then also a hard copy. You can buy these on Amazon or through the Pearson store. So I think it's a good way to go. We'll be looking at, like we said, 7 chapters. This course will look at what the middle school is like in the first 3 chapters, what type of where the high school came from, its purpose, its organization, and then how middle school has changed. We're looking at specific trends that we're seeing in secondary education, and then how the kids are changing. So first 3 chapters dealing with the culture of the school. Then we'll look at management and teaching, and how you could use technology, and how it's impinging upon almost everything you do. We won't be looking so much at lesson planning or assessment. We can find that in another class I teach, 879, where we'll emphasize that, as well as 2 other classes that you take in your program. So that's our focus here. If you're interested in knowing who's in your class, just look under people. It'll list all the people that are there, and I'm sure as we move more and more to cohort groups at PSU, you'll find that you know quite a lot of people here. But to find out about everybody in your class, again, we're going to ask that you introduce yourself in a very short paragraph. We kind of would like for you to talk about what you feel comfortable about sharing, but a little bit about your family, your background, your teaching situation if you're teaching, and then I'm going to ask that you add 1 true and 1 false statement about yourself. I love doing this to introduce yourself, because it gives us a hook, and then as we respond to other people, we're going to try to guess what was true or what was false about you. To find out about me, we're going to ask that you watch a humorous video found in the very first introduction, first module of the course, introduction module. It's the life and times of Kent Runyon. It's a very rather humorous introduction about me, and how I grew up, and the like, and some of it's kind of sarcastic or humorous, but it gives you sort of a overview of me. And I like to suggest that you might want to construct one of these for yourself as you introduce yourself to your students. They always want to know a little bit about you. Also, my contact information. Notice that at the bottom, if you call me at my office, I'm not there, but every couple of days. So the best way to always get me is through my cell phone or my email or the Canvas messaging system. And I'll always try to respond as soon as I get the message. If you watch that video, I want you to see if you can answer these two questions about me. What do you think is true? That I flunked the third grade and have been to Russia twice to tour and teach in various schools? Or that I've biked across Kansas, bungee jumped off a bridge in West Virginia, and placed second in the Fort Scott Mud Wrestling Contest. Those you're going to find, if you watch the video, the obvious answers to. So maybe take a preliminary guess and watch the video and see what you think is true. About your text, it is focused on just secondary schools, but we're going to look at the teaching methods, the curriculum, the current research, and how our schools in the secondary field are structured. So it's a primary focus just on the adolescent students. We'll be using the text, we'll be using a number of articles in each of the modules and videos, and then we'll ask you to apply it to activities and discussion boards to explore the ideas. So I think it's a good structure and centered just on the American adolescent. Your course grades will be composed total 430 points. The very first thing you get credit for is doing your personal introduction. Then you'll also take a orientation quiz after you read the syllabus and watch this video. You should be able to easily pass that one as far as the course requirements, but I want to know, check for understanding that you're ready to go for the course and what it entails. And then as we go through the modules, you'll be taking 7 quizzes. We're going to drop the lowest grade, and then you'll be doing seven activities, but we're not going to drop the lowest grade on that one because those usually you can do real well on if you just complete the parts that we ask you to do. And then your discussion board, we'll have 7 of those. You'll be choosing one of 4 activities, and so that's your major crux of how you get your grade. At the end, we'll ask you to reflect, give you specific things to look at and reflect upon over what you've done during the semester. And then just as I evaluated you, we're going to ask that you evaluate me, an instructor, in a course and instructor evaluation. You even get 10 points for that. So, and it's anonymous. I don't know who said what. So feel free to give me feedback on what worked and what didn't so I can improve the course for next semester. To be more specific, the chapter quizzes are all electronic, but the big thing I'll suggest that you watch your time and that you don't exit the quiz until you're completely finished. It will show your answers as soon as you finish the quiz. So that's a good way to check for understanding, see if you got the key points in that chapter. In the discussion boards, again, you'll respond to at least 4 questions. As we said, 2 of them, the first 2 usually deal with some concepts and you reacting to it or applying it to your teaching situation. And then a research one where you have to go out and use other material to be able to do that response. And then one that's practical oriented, where you state your opinion on how you might handle this certain scenario in a classroom. So when you respond to other people, one of the key points, I don't want 1 or 2 just sentences that you say, oh, I agree with that, great idea. But you go beyond simply agreeing, maybe providing further information or give an example of how you did it. But I want some quality responses. and as the syllabus will outline, that you act professionally on things that you disagree with. So discussion board is fun for me. When you post a paragraph, especially on the first two questions that ask you to respond or react to something in the reading, the very basic you might use is a 3.8, because here it forces you to at least support your reasoning with 3 points. For example, in a 3.8 paragraph, your first sentence is your topic sentence where you state your position and you even list your 3 points why you believe that or what supports it. And then the third sentence, the second sentence is the first reason, and then the third sentence is some sort of supporting documentation or example, and you follow and replicate that in the fourth and fifth sentences. Fourth sentence will be your second reason, sixth sentence your third reason, and then you have sentences below it to explain it or to document it. And then your eighth sentence you conclude. So, you tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them what you told them, and then you document your points. So, and it doesn't have to be just 8 sentences, it could be 10, but it gives you a basic thought process to answer your paragraphs. And then the third thing is your activities. They are most of the time you don't have a whole lot of choice, but here in chapter 2 you'll be taking a position on the Common Core, and we give you even some articles on the pros and cons, but here we're asking you to take a position, and a 3.8 paragraph would be great for that, where you would state your position on the Common Core in your topic sentence and your 3 reasons why it's either pro or con, and you document each one of those with something. So activities, and when you read all of when I read these, I look for not any correct answer, but how you support it. The course quiz, again, is worth 2, well, gosh, it's higher than that, but each of those are worth 30 points, and we dropped the lowest one. So they're quite clear, and I don't really try to trick you. So, oh, that's a course quiz. That's quite easy. There you go. I think you got 8 questions, and you're simply going to be telling me that you read the syllabus and the course introduction. And then also the last thing you do is complete the instructor evaluation, where you're telling me what you thought of each of the items in this course. So that's how really the course goes. It's a 2-week cycle for each of the modules. And here's what I would suggest. In the first week, you read the text and all the supporting websites or articles and videos, and then take the quiz. It's due by that first Friday of the first week. And then the second week, you're center on your activity. You're going to post it by Wednesday, so it gives you 3 days to get it posted. And then you're also post on Wednesday your discussion board answer, and then it gives you 2 days by Friday to respond to at least 5 others. So in essence, you've got an assignment in a 2-week period on the first Friday, and then 2 assignments on Wednesday, and then finish up the discussion board on Friday. And then we start a new module on the second week. So it, in essence, builds upon you reading and watching the videos, responding to the research in an activity, and then discussing something that you've applied to your classroom with others. Some advice that I'd give you: if you're going to be late, life happens. We get sick. Tragedies occur in our family and our lives. So if you have something going on, just make sure you tell me. And I'm pretty accommodating when life happens, but do like to know. Just don't go by and not submit something, because usually I'll drop you if you miss 2 assignments, and because that's the way we take attendance. I would set enough time. One of the biggest mistakes online students have is they just don't have enough time to complete the assignments in a timely manner and to read the material they need to do to be successful. So I would set some time alone that you have each week where you can work on the class material. Again, attendance is taken in an online course as completion of assignments. In fact, Canvas can track exactly what page you went to, what you watched, for how long. It's quite interesting what data it gives me back on how much time you spent looking at different things. So um, spend some time and make sure you get things in on time. I'm going to have a great time with this class. Always enjoy getting kind of to know you online and see your thinking process. And so hope you have a good time too, and add to your professional toolbox a number of different ideas to help you be successful in the American school. Thanks for watching, and now go take your quiz.